When we think of what's hurting our planet, we typically don't consider the food we throw away and where it ends up. In the US, about a third of the food produced is never eaten. That's about 90 billion meals worth each year, according to ReFed, a national nonprofit. It comes as estimates show 42 million Americans face hunger every day. It's something government officials like former U.S. Department of Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue have called out.
30 to 40% of our food supply is lost, wasted, and that is absolutely unacceptable. That's immoral for a country like the United States to waste anywhere near that amount of food.
Our food most commonly goes to the wayside in two different ways: food loss and food waste. Food loss occurs at the production or processing stages of the food chain, while food waste is the food that made it to your grocery store or home but ultimately was thrown out. Both can occur at every level of production. Between the farm and your dinner plate, food can face problems during manufacturing, transportation, or if it gets contaminated. But the threats don't end there. Once unharmed food gets to the grocery stores, it's subject to human impact, with issues like overstock, faulty cold storage, expirations, or throwing away produce that doesn't look perfect.
So because you like the perfect tomato, you're not going to go to the grocery store and purchase the tomato that is missing a stem or maybe has a little black dot on it.
That food loss comes at a financial cost. The Department of Agriculture estimates grocery stores lose $15 billion each year in unsold fruit and veggies alone. When food produced is unnecessarily wasted, the resources are also wasted. The Environmental Protection Agency says much of our food supply ends up in landfills or incinerated. In 2018, food waste was the single largest material that ended up in landfills. The millions of tons of rejected food off-gases methane, a greenhouse gas that scientists say contributes to climate change.
We continue to put layer on layer in the landfill. It does not allow it to naturally decompose.
This is not just an American issue. If you break down how much food is wasted around the world, the U.S. sits as the third trashiest country, trailing behind China and India.
It takes 25 years for a head of lettuce to decompose in the landfill. People have no idea. Food waste is responsible for anywhere from 6 to 10% of our greenhouse gas emission. It has been said that it has a bigger impact than flying planes.
These alarming trends are causing countries to act. In 2015, the Department of Agriculture and EPA announced a new domestic goal to reduce food loss and waste in half by 2030. Most of the reduction efforts are targeted to what you can do at home. A ReFed study found over a third of U.S. food waste happens behind the doors of your home. Separate research found Americans eat less than half of the fruit, vegetables, and dairy products they buy. That's despite polling showing Americans want to reduce their food waste.
By doing simple steps like meal prepping, auditing your food waste, composting, feeding people, feeding animals, we can really solve this issue that is impacting us globally.
Another floated solution is universal composting. Eric Goldstein works for a nonprofit that deals with natural resource protection issues throughout the country.
What we need to do is have universal curbside collection of food scraps and yard waste, just like we do for recycling and for regular trash. There are probably less than 10 million Americans today who are served by curbside compost collection operation.
He says saving money is only an added bonus.
When you have curbside composting and you've implemented it successfully, you can even save money for taxpayers because it costs less to drop off food scraps and yard waste at a composting site than it does at many landfills and incinerators.
With more countries and cities setting ambitious goals, conservationists say there's new hope to restore balance to our food waste woes. Meg Hilling, Newsy.